All right, everyone, welcome to Mind Your Words After Dark with your co-host Mayra and me, Alicia. So this is our fun episode. Anything can be talked about. That's why it's after dark. So Mayra, how have you been? What's new?
Well, no, it's been good. I mean, besides Mercury retrograde happening, for those that don't know what Mercury retrograde, it's basically when miscommunication and also connections like internet and lights and anything that's not clear, it just becomes a muddle. Transportation is also one that gets affected.
Oh,
But yeah, transportation being delayed, late,
mm.
flights on time, trains, you name it, not arriving. Mercury retrograde, it affects everything. But besides that, I'm doing good. Just you know, hanging in, just doing it as I'm progressing. How about yourself? How are you
I've
doing?
been going through it too. I think everyone has been going through whatever this crazy world is doing right now, and
Oh,
I
that's like
really think the world is changing in front of our eyes, and we're not used to it, of course.
let's keep it after dark because to be honest, I can go on a rant about what I saw from Trump and
Oh
Zelensky.
yeah,
Let's not let's keep it nice and
we're gonna make
positive.
it positive today. Maybe we'll go on the deep end, the dark side later on. But
All right, but let me tell you, I was swearing in the kitchen, and my son walks in and says, "Mommy, stop being angry." Oh, okay. That was the first time he's ever mentioned that to me in my life. In his 3 little years, that's the first thing he said ever. Mommy, don't be angry.
he's
It's
such
you
a smart kid,
lower your
really.
voice. Lower your voice. Don't be angry.
Oh,
And I said, you know what? I'm sorry. You're right. And I gave him a big hug. So there you go.
yeah. I today after I saw what was happening, I put the message out there and say, listen, we all have to practice being humble because if we're heading in this direction of saying that we are better than somebody else and you're not respecting me, then you're gonna get that kicked in your butt, really.
I felt so sorry for Zelensky. It was like a chihuahua entering the bulldog house. It was really just not nice. And yeah, you want to be a peacemaker. That's just not the way to be a peacemaker. But anyways, that's
We're
my
not talking
take.
about that today. So, Myra, you are a specialist of tarot cards, so I want you to pick a card for us for tonight for us to talk about. I love it because not too many people know that I have that kind of psychic ability, and I'm all about reading cards and tapping into it. I really didn't talk about it with anybody because I don't want to be seen as somebody different, but we all have that intuitive abilities and we have to trust it. And sometimes, I know, Myra, you have very strong intuition. I have very strong intuition, and that's why we connect so well. And so that's why we're gonna pick a top. Let the universe pick a subject today, don't you think? Right.
Let the universe pick a topic. I mean, hopefully it's not the Three of Swords or Swords, but because that's definitely us at the moment. But
Right.
or the Nine of Swords. But let's just hopefully whatever the universe picks, and as to tarot, I am, although I am a Catholic, in a sense, but I know some people forbid this stuff, like, oh no, you shouldn't do it. But to be honest, I think it's a talent. And if you're good at something that you do, just follow it. It's a gift at the end of the day. So
It is a
I
gift.
think it's a gift. So let's just see what the cards decide to do today or what we are going to talk about because this is going to be
Absolutely.
very impromptu, everybody. This is not scripted at all. So we're
Not
just,
scripted. We are just gonna go with it.
I feel the bottom one. Yeah, the two of
Oh,
wands.
choices.
Ooh, yeah, choosing to move forward, ready to go, question mark, developing and having a clear plan. Sounds kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. This is this thing I've been, jumping around a lot on social media. I've been trying to find a way that I can share, thoughts and ideas. And I said, I really enjoyed just talking to people. I really enjoyed talking with you, Myra. And I'm like, why am I trying so hard to do something that I'm not focusing on what is easier for me. I'm focusing on the difficult side. And I said, okay, I'm gonna make a choice. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna start making podcasts again. And you're helping me do that, Myra. And I'm really glad I made that choice to go this way. And yeah, a lot of choices are being made this time. This is a time of change, really. Yeah.
True. And I'm really glad that you've invited me. So, I mean, I've always wanted to get into podcast, and it's just finding the time, isn't it? But I'm glad that we've decided to do something like this, and it's amazing. And we love talking. And I think sometimes with what we say, I think it's important to other people to hear as well, and it may apply for them. So, the two of wands, in the sense, it is, the picture, if you're not into tarot, but it's basically a man looking out. And by the way, this is very gender fluid. So it doesn't have to, just because it's a man, no, it could be a woman as well. It doesn't matter. Basically, it's a person looking out, holding the world in their hands. And they got these two wands beside them. So it's kind of having a plan. If it was a two of swords, that would be the two kind of choices as to where we're going, and a bit confliction. But this is kind of having a clearer plan, and choosing to move forward or leave the comfort zone, because the person is looking out into the ocean. He's looking beyond, so he's thinking, right, should I journey or should I stay? So it's kind of making that decision. And I today I've made a decision to move forward and leave something behind. But it's something that had to happen. It's something that was, I guess, it's something that I couldn't avoid, but I wasn't happy where I was. And I decided to let that go. And when I had made the decision to let something go, something something appeared, something that I wanted. And it was like a path that it was like a yellow brick road that just opened in front of me and said, follow this path. This is the way. And you know what? You know what's the saying is, right? When God closes the door, he leaves a little window open.
It's
And that's how it felt. And it just kind of happened when, within the overlap of that 1 week of letting something go, and something was offered to me. And it was like, whoa, this intertwined of, it was just going like this. So it was going like,
yeah, yeah, it's amazing.
yeah. So, it had to happen, had to be. And, am I ready to go? Which is the question. The next thing is like, ready to go. Like, are you ready? Just similar to like this podcast. Are we ready? Yes,
Yeah,
we're here.
we're
No.
doing it.
Am I ready to take the next step forward into this path that showed in front of me? Yes, I feel like it's a calling, and it's been a path that I've wanted to do, which is in curriculum. So, so yeah, so that's kind of my side of choosing to move forward and leave a comfort zone. What about you?
Oh my gosh, Myra, I think that's my biggest hurdle is moving forward because I think I told in another podcast I made a long time ago about, since high school, I was always on a mission to prove myself, and dealing with dyslexia, and you also having dyslexia, you probably understand this. You had that I had to prove myself more than I others have to. That's what I felt. I
Yeah,
felt
no, no,
like,
I was the same. Don't worry. I
yeah,
felt an imposter, and I
yes,
and I had to kind of pretend that I was on it academically,
yeah,
pretend, and I hung out with the top 20 of women in my school, smart academically, extracurricular. And I always felt deep inside that I had to, just like you said, like you had to, kind of pretend or play that role of, oh yeah, I'm also academic. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So then they would think, oh, she's so smart and so
right,
brilliant. But to be honest, I filled it up with extracurricular, because I just filled it up with extracurricular. I did every
absolutely,
because I didn't want people to start seeing or noticing my weakness in academic and writing, which was my in English. So I just pretended like, oh, I'm just so tired. All those rehearsals, or all those the plays and all these singing competitions and whatever. I just and they believed it. They just believed it, and
Yeah,
so I really lived an imposter life for a couple of years
absolutely.
until I found out.
Yeah, and that was me, and I was really pushing myself, and I was going, degree after degree, job after job, and acting, volunteering and doing all that stuff, and I was going and going and going, and then around 2020, I just collapsed because I was just exhausted. I was exhausted because I was like, who am I fighting against? I was fighting against myself, really, at that time.
Oh
And
yeah,
it
I
took me to a whole new level because I was still teaching. I was dabbing into coaching at that time, but I realized I was exhausted with myself and I didn't see the path that was in front of me because there were so many times where I doubted myself, like communication was my biggest fear.
yeah.
Um, I remember I think I told a story a while ago, but there was a time where I got kicked out of a motivational speaker meeting. Yeah.
What happened?
Well, so this was in 2010, I think. Yeah, I was working in a retail store. It was very hard work because I was working in inventory and doing cashier work and everything else. So it was a heavy labor work and at that time I wanted motivation because I was stuck in retail. It was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to do marketing actually. It was but
Yeah,
I was in sales. So I
yeah.
went to this local motivational speaker group meeting and he was a very tall man. Like he must have been 7 foot tall. I don't know. He was a giant.
Uh, I believe it. I believe it. I got a couple of exes very tall. I know that, and I'm 5'3", so I know the feeling of being a shorty.
Yeah, so it was okay, but he used his height as a intimidation. It was strange.
Not
Okay, but anyway, so the whole point of this group is that you're supposed to get up and introduce yourself to the group and what you're doing. So I went for maybe a couple weeks and then I decided to jump up there and say, "Hey, I'm Alicia. I do social media marketing." I was really nervous. I was like, I had no skill in speaking or anything, but I was really nervous.
yeah.
And then literally the next day, his partner called me. It was a woman who was in marketing. She's
Oh,
been marketing specialist for like 20 years or whatever at that time. And she's like, "Why did you get up on this stage?" And I was like, "What do you mean? I was just practicing with my first time talking in front of a group." And she's like, "Well, I don't appreciate it. You came and stand in front of the group, and it would be better for you not to come for the next meeting." I was like, "What?
I'm sorry.
Excuse
It's
me?
not you.
What do
The
you mean
first
I
time.
can't
Oh, what?
come?"
Well, what's the housekeeping rules? Oh, you can't jump on stage. Oh, okay, I'll just sit on my chair and then talk.
So
Oh my
what
God.
is the whole point? But I realized that she felt intimidated by me, me, just a college student graduate, coming out, and she was afraid that I was going to take her clients. I just introduced
Oh,
myself.
wow.
So, I didn't realize that I had that kind of intimidation or even, I don't know how to describe it. I guess presence. I guess I have the presence. And
But yeah, you have the presence, but that was not the reason why you were there.
no, of course not.
Okay?
I was just practicing.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been in a situation. I'm going to try to keep it as rated PG as much as possible. But I've been in a situation where I was at a bar and chatting with people, and the bar lady said, "I need you to leave." I said, "Hold on. Why do you want me to leave?" He said, "Oh,
Yeah,
because you take my customers, bar clients. Let's just say Thailand." And I said, hold on. I'm here to take anybody.
right.
Look." And then I gave her some money. I was just being polite. I said, "Look, buy yourself a drink.
Yeah,
It's on me. And if you can pour me a drink, great, okay, and keep the change. Keep the rest of the money."
right.
We're talking about like $30, something like that worth. And she grabbed that bill, crumpled it up, and tossed it to my face and said, "Get." I know, and I was like, "Okay, hold on." I was like, "I didn't do anything." And I said, "Okay, fine, I'll take the, I'll take the money." I was just being kind. But she saw it even as a bigger insult. So she just had to leave. I'm like, what? Us innocent women. I mean, come on. We're just trying to have a good time. We're trying to be there
Exactly.
for a good purpose. And somebody twists it up and thinks that, hold on, you're here for malicious reasons.
Right. So it's like it's weird. Maybe we are because we're confident women, and even though we were insecure, I was insecure at that time, and you were just being you.
Oh, I wasn't. I would have boxed her if I had a chance to do it.
Right.
I'd bring it on, but I was scared because in Thailand, who you know, and they can call somebody and get you. Oop, there goes my light.
Yeah, the light goes off. See, we have that energy. We have that
Yeah, no,
energy that really, scares some people,
I
and they
know.
find it intimidating. They don't want, look, the light doesn't want to come back on.
No, it come back on. I did put the
Now,
password.
yeah, we took the energy out of it.
It work again. Ta-da.
There you go. It works.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. It could be that they're insecure,
Yeah,
right? Of themselves. And so that gets projected to you. And you
absolutely.
think, hold on, I'm not the one who's done anything here. And you want to come out and peaceful, and somehow it makes it seem like you're the problem.
Right.
You're not the problem. We're not the problem. You are not the problem. I wasn't the problem there. I was having a good time. And you were there for good reasons. And you know, and sometimes, yeah, you're right. Sometimes people project those things, and yeah, and that kind of goes with, I guess, with what you were saying with, your dyslexia, that you felt like you were an imposter.
Yeah.
Me, that's interesting. I never felt that I was an imposter. I just felt that something, I just felt like I was ashamed. I felt shameful. Like
Same.
I was ashamed that I couldn't pronounce certain words when I would read them out loud. I was ashamed of that other people would find out. I think I'm stupid. I just kind of hid it for a very long time. But I didn't know I was dyslexic till I was 27 in doing a master's degree. And they said, oh, it's very common for people to be dyslexic. Somebody came from the counseling center and said, if everybody wants to take this little simple test. And I was just like, yes, yes,
Yep.
yes. Yeah. I was like, whoa, hold on. And I went in for to talk to someone, and they did a test on me. I kid you not. They stopped me after 5 minutes. I didn't even complete the whole test. And they said, okay, um, I think you're dyslexic. I was like, what? We're not going to continue? And they go, no, I think we don't need to continue.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That must have been really shocking for you. You're like, wait a minute, there's something wrong with me.
But you know what? The worst thing that ever happened to me, and I think I think anybody that has dyslexia and experiences something like that, it can be discouraging when it's said, oh, you don't have to do this, or um, this is going to be a challenge for you.
Right.
And anybody with any disability, anybody, you can do it. You can do anything
Absolutely.
you put your heart and soul to. And there I was working on a PhD. I was seen by a professional to give me a better diagnostic of my dyslexia as to where it's at. And he said a couple of times throughout this time, and he was getting paid for it, are you sure you want to do a PhD? Do you know it's going to be challenging for you?
Yeah.
And you know what? I walked out after the whole thing. I called my ex right away, and I was in tears. I
Sure.
said, this man, a professional who's supposed to be encouraging and say, wow, what a brave, strong woman you are to
Right.
do something like this. Amazing. I will make this report for you so they can help you academically, and how it will work with you, and how they. No, he was just very rude, and he made me feel very little. And I walked out thinking, this guy questioned my ability to do a PhD. How 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 rude, how unprofessional is he? I had to report him because I feel like he wasn't doing his job.
Sure.
You know, you shouldn't be discouraging people or questioning people. Are you sure you want to do this? I mean,
Absolutely.
it was disgusting. and
Wow.
and and that, that kind of, you know that kind of, that, leaving comfort zones. Yes, I may be I mean, I love academia, I do love it. Do I love reading all those journals? Hell no, I don't. But you know what? Do I love writing literature reviews? Hell no. That's the worst thing I hate. I hate literature reviews. So, but is that going to stop me from completing a PhD? No, it's not. And I went in straightforward, did it, did it, did it, did it. Was it challenging? Yes, it was very challenging. And, sadly, part to the ready to go, I sadly, when I was towards my feeling it now and finding a rhythm, which took me longer than others, which happens a lot with dyslexia, as dyslexic people. I was let go. I was kind of. They were saying, there's blah blah blah. I think we're going to withdraw you from the PhD program, and I felt like, what? I've invested my time, invested my money.
Yeah,
Well, I don't even say how much. It was about good old 50 to 60 grand.
exactly.
That and they took my money, took my time that I put in, didn't help me in my dyslexia, didn't even support me in that academically because they didn't know how,
Right.
even though I was explaining to them, and they didn't have the resources because I was foreign, in an English country, in the UK. But I didn't get those rights that others would. So at the end of the day, I just felt like I was mistreated, and it was very unfairly.
Yeah.
And people with dyslexia managed to go on and complete their degrees, and also those that had dyslexia and they had a really good mentor, they had a really good professor or tutor that understood dyslexia and how it would work for them, and kind of worked for them as well.
Right.
So it's not just also having the dyslexia, but having the support around you that will help you to succeed anything you want. And I think that's, sadly, I chose, I was stuck in, and sadly, it had to stop. But is it going to ever? I mean, is it stopping me from ever completing one?
Sure.
No, I
No way.
definitely. Yeah, no, I want to. The
Right.
thing now cost. Yes. Do I want to invest in a lot of money where then at the end of the day they can say bye bye, you're not academic enough, and that is scary. So I'm just gonna wait till I get a scholarship.
Good for you. Good for you, Myra. That's exactly what I went through. In my high school. That's why I said it started like 20 years ago. It's in high school because I remember so many circumstances because of my teachers didn't believe in my skill. I decided I wanted to try advanced geometry. That was something I was not very good in geometry, but I wanted to take an advanced math course because the other math course was easy for me. And I was getting a C. Okay, I was average in this class. And I remember my teacher come up to me and say, Alicia, I don't think you're good enough to continue this course. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm passing. But he's like, no, we're gonna put you in algebra. And it was not even advanced algebra, it was regular algebra. And I was so devastated by that because I went to my algebra class. I had 100% in that class, but it was not challenging for me. I wanted to take something that was challenging for me. And this was my struggle the whole time in high school because I wanted to study chemistry because my mom is a chemist. So I was taking,
Yeah.
I wanted to take advanced AP chemistry. And my teacher did not want to create a class for AP chemistry. She said, okay, I'll put you in AP biology. I was like,
I was there too. I was also in AP biology.
but I didn't like biology. So
Oh, you did? It was all right.
it was all right. I didn't do well because it was not my interest, because I really was wanting to do chemistry. And it's because of that, I was so frustrated. I finally found a teacher. I forgot his name, unfortunately, but he was my our computer teacher. And I approached him, I said, "Can I learn from you my own study how to program a computer?" And he let me. I was in a room, and he taught me how to disassemble and assemble a computer and program it. And I was happy, even though it was not my interest, but I was like, at least I'm doing something different. And I went to university. I decided to try computer science. Eventually, I did not finish computer science because it was not my interest. But
I regret not doing computer science because I was actually brilliant at it. But
yeah,
anyways,
yeah. So but because of him, I was determined to try computer science, and I did it for 2 years. And then I decided it was not for me. I wanted to talk to people. And I still remember because my dyslexia was messing me up at my programming. And I remember sitting there at like 2 a.m. in the morning. I had a 20-page code, in front, and they said there's a comma error or error somewhere. And I'm like, where is this error?
where is that?
And I'm like, and I was thinking at 2 a.m., like, do I want to spend my whole life finding errors that I made?
I used to do. I used to be the webmaster for my for a couple of sororities
Uh-huh.
and clubs that I did, and I was building all the web pages back in 2000, 2001, 99,
Yeah.
and oh, I loved it. I actually I actually enjoyed being up 1, 2 in the morning working and seeing
Yeah.
move and graphics. I'm like, yes, I managed to put an enter button. Right now, let's do this. I loved it. So
Yeah.
I can relate to you on this.
See, Myra, we had so many things in common, and
I had no idea. Goodness, but you know what? Speaking of teachers, the thing about like going back to the PhD and in life, you had a very different experience when it came to teachers, and you not knowing that you had
I
dyslexia.
did not know. No.
For me, I really, 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 really wished my English teachers um, noticed this and said, this is a form of dyslexia. I mean, I thought all teachers were taught kind of, knowing these kind of neurodiversities that affect learners,
Right.
students. But, I had a meeting. It was one with an English teacher, and she was so sweet. And I was always sitting in the front of class, answered every question. I was the A person, A student, not a problem. When it came to the writing, that's where I failed. And she called me in and she asked me, can I ask you? I'm going to read something to you. And she read it out loud. And then she said to me, you jump from this to this. There is no middle, And I was kind of like, okay. I said to her, look, I'm sorry. I did this very late. And um, I'm willing to redo it again. And they would always let me. But they always gave me those A's because I put in so much effort in
Yeah.
every, and they saw me as I was in drama. People knew who I was, my name, my face, whatever, even in town. And they just thought, oh, look, the hardworking star, okay, let's just give her an A. She got, and it's not because I asked for it. It's because I just somehow I answered them. I did everything I could to get a good grade. And funny enough, there was a story that I was going to tell you about well, I was going to say something. Oh, about the biology.
Yeah.
Now, my friends said to me, my smart friends, they were like, don't do it. You're going to fall behind. And I said, how? Why? They go, Mayra, you're terrible at homework. And it's true.
Mm.
I hated homework. Um, and I said, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I went in. Mr. Diebert is his name. Brilliant man, by the way. I bumped into him the last time I bumped into him a couple of years ago at Papa Murphy's. But anyways, he remembered me. Everybody remembers me. And so anyhow, so everybody said to me he was the most hardest, strictest teacher. And if you start messing around, not completing your assignments, he's going to fail you. And so then there goes my first term, my first semester, and I wasn't turning things in because I was rehearsing. And I said, okay, you know what? I got to have a chat with him. Like I chatted with all my teachers. All I did, that's the way to do it. And I said to him, Mr. Diebert, I'm so sorry. I'm behind. I'm willing to make it up lunch after, not after school because I have rehearsals or I have this play going on. And he said, you're in a play? I said, yes. He said, the one that's happening now, which was Godspell, by the way.
Wow.
I said, yes, that one. He said, I love that play. I went to see it. Oh, you're brilliant. Everybody was brilliant. You know what? Take your time. You know
Wow.
what? Do finish your performances. It's okay. Go. I found the weak spot of Mr. Diebert was drama because all of my friends were
Wow.
not in drama. They were not extracurricular. They were very sporty, right?
Yeah.
And I found a way to get that B minus, and they were so envious. How did you get Mr. Diebert to give you these grades? I said he loves drama, and then the next semester came, and it was my last year, senior year. And I said to him, I'm so sorry, my fruit flies have died. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, he's like, are you in Fiddler on the Roof? I said, yes, I'm Golda. He's like, oh my, when you sang that song, that was my wedding song, Sunrise, Sunset. Don't worry. Go on, do your plays. You can take somebody's fruit fly. It's okay. I'll help you. Boom. B minus. I don't care. I still passed. But that just goes
Wow.
to the hard work and dedication of anybody who doesn't even know that they're dyslexic or any way to finding a way to get through and making sure that things happen. But teachers are brilliant, and I'm a teacher myself, my background. So uh,
Absolutely.
I
There are some great teachers. I remember my teacher from third and fourth grade. She loved me,
mm.
and she loved the book that I wrote, which I plan to publish one of these days. And
Ooh,
yes, I wrote a book. Maybe I won't mention it now because I want to keep it
let's not
secret.
mention it.
But
Let's not mention top
but
secret.
she encouraged because she loved my idea, even though I was a terrible writer. I can go through a whole thing, but I'm not okay. I'm improved. I should not be so
We all
negative.
true.
Yeah, we all improve. You can improve. You can improve. But she was so happy about my writing that she kept a copy of it and she would share it every year because the school was, asking students to make their own books. And she will use my story as an example
Oh,
for at least, I think she did it for 20 years until she retired. And
wow.
I was like, that was encouraging for me. And, even when I did the AP biology, which I didn't pass it, of course, but
Ooh, too drama. That's why.
it was traumatizing for me because I couldn't remember the words, the Latin words of different plants and the DNA and all that stuff. But we had to do dissection of a pig, a fetus pig. And
Mm.
my my teacher, who was not so impressed with me, suddenly became very impressed with my surgery skills.
Oh.
And she would say, "Okay, find me this part of the organ with the intestines. Find the appendix." And I would show her the appendix, and she was like, she was like shocked that I was able to do this part, So yeah, it's every child has a talent. Each teacher should try to find the talent in every student, really.
Develop a clear plan.
Yeah,
Every child is different.
yeah,
Everybody is different. Any learning abilities, you name it. The sad thing is that teachers are going through a hard time with, the amount of learners that they have in a classroom, and then if it's a high school or what we call here secondary, periods, they just go on and on and on and they just roll on. I used to work in one, and in primary school you have so many subjects within one day,
yeah.
so you could see the markings or what marking here they call it grading in America, but you could see how it works, and how time consuming it is to
Absolutely.
sometimes PAs do the marking in primary. In secondary they don't do it as much, but it is hard work. And I know for those that have any neurodiversities, like put effort into them because they will succeed. And I had a learner, a short little story. I had a learner who had ADHD. He informed me he had ADHD. Um, and he asked, and he was the class clown.
Yeah.
He couldn't keep still. he couldn't sit down and do assignments. And one day he said to me, "Teacher, put me in a corner, block me, and put me, just isolate me, and I will do my work."
Wow.
I said, "Sure." He said, "Yeah, please trust me." I said, "Okay, let's give it a go, and I will take your word for it." And I did. And he sat there and he did his work. We had to block him with books, all these old books that I have. We just
A
stacked them
little
up
castle.
and surrounded. Yeah, he loved it. He even put it in
I would
front.
love it. Yeah.
And he did his little wall up in high school. And he kept, and there was a couple of learners that were like, "Hey, hey, hey," like trying to take his attention. He's like, "No, he's like, I really want to do this. I really want to get this done." And then he did. And I said, "Look, leave him alone." And he did his work. And you just got to listen to them. Just like I said to my supervisors, you got to listen to your needs and how you will be able to do things so you can succeed. And sometimes you just got to push it and ask them and tell them and have a plan and a structure. That's what I wanted in my PhD. I wanted a structured plan, but it was never given to me.
Yeah.
Uh, and it was and when it was decided, it was a little too late. So, again, teachers are important, but developing something for each child, it's time consuming, but it's just like that teacher that you will remember, and she
Yeah.
loved you and supported you, and you're in like, why me? Because you did something amazing and you
Right.
moved there. So it's
And that's
really,
so perfect for the card, like we
yeah.
have to focus on our take a moment for ourselves, look at the future, okay, and see where we came from, but okay, recognize where you want to go, right? And I think this is a good way to end everything, Mayra, what is your future? What do you want to plan for yourself? What is your plan?
Wow. I mean, I have a lot of things,
Yeah,
but my time is very limited on this earth.
I
With
know what you mean.
every time, but I think in the future, besides my work, besides my curriculum, I would love to go back to drama. And I would love to get involved in drama. I don't have the time at the moment to get involved in it, but just teaching, I do love teaching. Although I'm a manager now and I kind of oversee the learning and working with the tutors and things like that. I do love being in front of a classroom, and I do love motivating and changing people's lives for the better. I say I love giving them tools,
Yeah,
and it's up to them on how they want to use them. And you see this creation, and when they have these tools, it's like, oh my goodness, it's like they're off, and it's so beautiful to see. I have a talent, I think, in drama and
you
teaching,
do.
and I really I was seen by the greatest. I hung out with the greatest of acting trainers. Sadly, they many of them have passed away, and I was very lucky. And they all said I had something.
Yeah.
So yeah, future. You never know. My PhD someday, or to write a book. That's always been to write a one woman play, a music.
Beautiful.
I won't give it away what I want.
You're like me. Don't share your ideas, right?
Well, I shared it with one person who's in the theater world, and I know he's not the type of person to go and. But I said to him, I would love him to come on board, and he's a director, so like work with him one day. But he's a very close friend of mine. But I think that's the future. I think that's doing something creative, and of course, giving my time and oh, running
That
a
would be so
marathon.
you, Myra. Really, it would be perfect for you. And that's what you need to do. And that's why we have that two of wands to remind you and say, who are you? What do you want?
You got the world in your hands. The guy has
Yeah.
the world. Well, I know it's very blurry.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh no, we lost it.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
I know, as the closer I get, it gets blurry. Yeah,
Ah,
the world is in his hands, and he's looking at it, and then he's looking out. So it's kind of like having a look at what's around you, or your past, or what is in front of you, and then looking beyond it and saying, right, do I leave my comfort zone or try something new?
right.
It is never too late to be what you might have been. I believe in that quote. since I was teaching years ago, and it's never too late. Just look out and look ahead. What about you, Alicia? What
And
about your future? What is your goal?
I always wanted to travel. Traveling was my passion. It's still my passion. And meeting different people because I was always with surrounded by different groups of people and talking to people. So I want to be a traveler.
Then when I was backpacking around, and
Yeah,
it's crazy. I look back and I think, what the hell was I thinking? But I did it.
you did
I
it.
walking aside of yeah, and almost falling. I mean, almost drowning or almost dying. Yeah, I did it though. Um, and I think you can do it as well. It's never too late.
No, it's never too late.
The world is beautiful, and for a woman to travel, solo traveling is empowering. It's a life-changing experience. And now, if you do it, which you will
Yeah, I
in
will.
the future, yes, now you can keep in touch and get these connections on social basis. Back in the days, I had nothing but an email on a piece of paper, all gone.
Yeah.
Those kind of things where you're like, oh, I really can't remember the name of that guy who saved me, or things like that. But you
Yeah,
know,
it's so many adventures, and I love meeting people and encouraging them to try to do something new. Just like that card, actually. This that card is like my mission, really, to encourage
ready
people
to
to
go.
go forward. Yeah. Like I was talking to my mom the other day. We went to a cafe and we met this older gentleman. Hey, maybe he was in his 70s.
Hmm.
And he started to talk about UK. He wanted to go back to London. Yeah,
Oh, oh,
London. And because he had an old love there, but they didn't marry, but he kept in
mhm.
contact with the family.
Sounds like my past, but okay.
Yeah. So he kept talking about his passion about London. And we're like, so go. And he's like, no, 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 I cannot. I cannot go there. And we're like, why? What's stopping you? And but he would make excuses. But those excuses were okay, legit. Don't have enough money, don't have the energy or whatever. But after talking to him, he had such a passion about going to England. It was like the only person who really was stopping him was himself, really. And so my mom and I are on a mission to convince him to go because life is too short. And staying here, like in his comfort zone, staying in Ohio and thinking about it is not going to achieve his dream. He has to go out and get it. Like that man looking at the in the future. He has to go
True.
out and get it.
This was me 20
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
The dream of coming to England, the dream of just seeing the streets and the black cabs and the telephone boxes and the theater. I was thinking more about the theater and the arts, and there I was on a plane crying my little eyes out next to a woman from Afghanistan. I think that's where her background was, or Pakistan, one of them. And I said to her, if I'm crying, please ignore me. I just got to get this plane. I'm afraid of flying. Whoop, there goes
Oh,
there.
there it goes again.
I'm afraid of flying. Just ignore me, please. And you know what? She was so kind. She held my hand and she said,
Oh,
look, talk to you whenever you want. And you know what? I don't regret it. My
no.
life changed 20 years ago. My anniversary will be coming up in November when I left America.
Oh, we have to celebrate that, Myra.
Oh yeah, you bet you we're gonna celebrate it. I party. I'm really thinking that was my life. I'm really thinking about I'd love to get a group of people, friends, whoever in London in November, because that's when it was, November 28th. And just go crazy with the mariachi and dance it.
That would be so much fun. Oh my gosh, Myra, you better invite me.
You are invited. So
Okay,
mom,
yes.
bring your mom over, bring whoever you want. We
Okay.
go. We go party in England, and the flights will be cheaper in comparison to coming in the summer to Europe. It's
Yeah, that's right. Oh my
so
gosh.
November.
I haven't been in London in 20 years, so. It'll be really cool to come back.
Ah, come back, and then
I
we
approve
do
of
a
that.
dark, little tour around London.
Yeah. Let me see how much I remember.
Well, I will make sure you remember lots of things. So yeah, we'll have a good time, and maybe a couple
Oh, Myra, this I really enjoy our episode today, our on the dark side.
of dark
But
after.
it's a great message to remind ourselves, you, me, anyone who's listening to this podcast, that you know, it's nice to reflect what happened to your past, but don't stay in the comfort zone. Go out there, go reach your dreams. It doesn't matter what, it doesn't matter who.
Keep
Just
it an
keep
old love.
dreaming.
Reach out to them.
Yeah, keep dreaming. Don't stop going towards your dreams. Exactly. All right, Myra, thank you. And thank you everyone for watching today. And we'll see you again soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.